Hello everyone, now let us discuss about some of the common fractures. First of all, coming to open or compound fracture. Here the broken ends of the bone, they protrude through the skin. Conversely, in contrast, a closed fracture does not break the skin. Closed or simple fracture does not break the skin. Here you can see these are the broken ends of the bone that protrude through the skin. And this is the X-ray. This is the humerus bone, broken humerus bone. This is protruding through the skin. The next type of fracture is common fracture is comminuted fracture. Minuted means crumbled. Cum means together. Comminuted. Here the bone is splintered or crushed or broken into pieces at the site of impact. And smaller bone fragments lie between the two main fragments. Here you can see these are the two main fragments of the broken bone. In between them are small broken pieces of the bone at the site of impact. This is a comminuted fracture. The next is Greenstick fracture. Greenstick fracture is a partial fracture in which one side of the bone is broken and other side bends. One side of the bone is broken and other side bends. This is the complete bone. Here one side is broken and there is a bend at the other side. Similar to the way a green twig breaks on one side while the other side stays whole but bends. Occurs only in children whose bones are not fully ossified and contain more organic material than the inorganic material. The next type of fracture is impacted fracture. One end of the fractured bone is forcefully driven into the interior of the other. In an impacted fracture, one end of the fractured bone is forcefully driven into the interior of the other. Here you can see one end of the fracture is forcefully driven into the interior of the other. This is an impacted fracture. Next common type is Pott fracture. The fracture of the distal end of the lateral leg bone, that is fibula, with serious injury of the distal tibial articulation. Pott fracture is bone specific. It is the fracture of the distal end of the lateral leg bone, that is fibula, with the serious injury of the distal tibial articulation. Here you can see this is fibula and this is tibia. So Pott fracture is the fracture of the distal end of the fibula bone with serious injury of the distal tibial articulation. The next common type is Colles fracture. This is the fracture of the distal end of the lateral forearm bone, that is the distal end of the radius, in which the distal fragment is displaced posteriorly. This is the radius and this is ulna. Here the distal end of the radius, distal fragment is displaced posteriorly. This is nothing but Colles fracture. Colles fracture is the fracture of the distal end of the lateral forearm, that is forearm bone, that is radius, in which the distal fragment is displaced posteriorly. These are some of the common types of fractures. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for further videos on medical coding and CPC training.